The terrifying thing about dating apps is that they've done way more damage to real life dating than any of us can even realize. We have been distracted by a worldwide lockdown and the rise of social media, right man? And because of this, we didn't ever notice the seismic changes in dating that has happened under our very noses and what has stripped away your ability to get the relationship that you deserve. My name's Andrew Wilkinson. I help men from all over the world get girlfriends and learn how to approach girls and meet girls without using dreaded dating apps. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through the 4 ways dating apps infected and changed real life dating culture that no one's really noticed. So the first way is it's created this massive overemphasis on texting. I was working with a client this week and he was sending me screenshots of his texts asking which text was right. Did I say the right thing here? Could I have sent this better? And I was reviewing, looking at all of them, and I was telling him, it doesn't really matter. One of the things that you get out of approaching in person is the fact that her decision about you is not based on whatever you text her afterwards. It's based on who you were at the time. You will never be able to text yourself into a date. I heard her saying that you're way more likely to text yourself out of a date than into one. And that's the thing that you have when you meet in person. It's irrelevant about the text. Her decision was already made, but we've got it in our head because of this grand culture online about showing Riz with a girl, being super charming, having an incredible text game. There's ebooks everywhere on this. And do you know why we think this way? It's because of dating apps. Because if you think about dating apps, yeah, it's actually kind of important what you text then, because that's the first interaction she ever has with you. She makes up so much of her opinion about who you are as a person, just kind of based off of what your text messages were. So it requires you to be more interesting than the other 10 guys that have messaged her that day. It requires you to be more playful, chatty. But when we meet in person the natural way, whether that is at a social event or from a cold approach, you don't need to do any of this. Texting is just for logistics, because I like to use the example that, have you ever been to like a theme park? They're kind of like arcade machines where you go, you play the games and you get printed off a bunch of tickets. And then at the end of the session, you take all your tickets and you go up to the desk and you get to pick from these array of prizes based on how many tickets that you have. You're excited, you're looking at it, you're looking at that big ass teddy bear and you want to see if you have enough tickets for that rather than the little pencil stopper that you can like rub out a pencil with. Well, that's kind of like texting. You go in and kind of just cash in your tickets. Like if you got her number, you're not going to change her opinion now. It was all done before. You're simply cashing in the interaction you had, and she's either going to be interested or she just isn't. And unfortunately, that's how it goes. So texting isn't a big, it's just not a big issue. As long as you don't say anything completely out of the realms of idiotic. It just requires you to be a normal person, being like, hey, it was awesome to meet you. Can't wait to meet on Tuesday. You down for that coffee? I'm thinking here. Like, that's all it needs to be. I have videos on this channel with my genuine text exchanges with girls where I just show how simple and easy it should be. And it's all because of dating apps that we've started to think it's this whole other side of dating, which simply doesn't need to be there. Secondly, dating apps have created a sense that we crave rejection-free dating, that now we just seem to have this deep desire to never feel that sense of rejection, and that comes from what dating apps offer you. You don't get told if a girl didn't swipe on you. She simply doesn't come up as a match. They've managed to hide from you the pain that you might feel of getting that rejection. So guys are now starting to implement that in the real life because they're no longer doing the thing of walking over and talking to the girl. 45% of men have never approached a girl in their life. And from the data in that stat, it wasn't just walked over and cold approached a girl. It was that they'd never even said hi to a girl in the bar that they didn't know. guys everywhere are looking for this kind of rejection-free method to approaching. And fundamentally, you're never going to find it, because the only people that don't get rejected are the ones that aren't trying. So there isn't that mode, there isn't some way to do it. And dating apps have cluttered our vision to think that this rejection is worse than it is. But it's not that bad. I think I've approached over 1,000 girls, and I know for a fact at least half of them would have been rejections, if not more. And it's okay, you can be rejected. I know culture seems to push back against that, but it's just this bullshit that has come from dating apps. Then, thirdly, and this one's so annoying, it's that guys have started to follow what they think works as opposed to what feels authentic. I saw a trend, it was on Instagram, and they were pulling up guys' Hinge profiles. And for anyone that's used Hinge, you know they use prompts on their profile. They use these little prompts that you fill in details for, and one of them is, my specialist skill is, and then you fill it in. It can be whatever you want, golf, cooking, etc. And somewhere on the internet, a men's advice page had listed that a really good one to use was getting my jumper back or getting my hoodie back after you've borrowed it. And the thing was, because they put that there, because they'd been told this was a good option, every guy started using it. And then there was like a counter movement, as I saw on Instagram again, where girls were pushing back against it, finding it so funny that all the guys had this exact same bio. And there was just screenshots everywhere of guys using that same one. And it wasn't attractive, it was just, it felt weak. And I was speaking to a client as well this week, and he was telling me about a date he went on with a girl and asking at the end of it, what I did, we went on the date, it went really well, but I didn't ask her on a second date because I read that you should not ask her out for a second date on the first date, because then you can leave in suspense if I actually like her, and then if she doesn't know that, she might feel more excitement, etc, etc. That was the right thing to do, right? I just kind of stared at him and I was like, not exactly, not really, because I have done that. There is times where I've not asked a girl out on the first date for the second one and maybe left it with a bit of suspense. But I've also done the opposite as well and asked girls out that I was interested in on that date straight away. And it was all down to the context of the situation, how I was feeling, what was authentic to me. And this is another way that dating app culture and that need to get the competitive edge in dating, where we're looking to other people to tell us what works, what in the algorithm is going to make girls like us. We've started doing that in real life, when in reality, it should come down to what feels right to you. Does it feel right to ask her? Then go for it. Like, if not, don't. And we've put over reliance on it because for the first time ever, we have quite like quantitative data on dating, because dating apps have provided that for us, that we have so much in there that we can start to kind of A/B test more than we ever used to be able to. But that's meant that we put too much emphasis on what we think works over what we think is authentic. And here is the final problem that I think dating apps have caused within the real world of dating. And that is that they have created a sense of, well, complete abundance, and that every person out there, they're merely a commodity. Like, there's no difference to this guy to the next, this girl to the next. This is like shopping on Amazon. Any of these selfie sticks to shoot YouTube videos could work. Like, I don't really need to be that attached to any of them. Any and all of them could work. And this came with it the really bad habit of ghosting, of messaging someone back and forth for a while, but I've now swiped to match with someone else. I don't really need to talk to that person. And since the introduction of dating apps, the real life culture has started to follow this path, started to follow this sense of, I went on that date, but was it really that great? There's this other person now. I don't need to message them, it'll be fine. I don't want to deal with a difficult conversation. Instead, I just want to simply move on. I've got my next person, got my next commodity, I can buy them instead. Let's go for that. I think this is just sad. It just kind of makes me upset, because In one of the most important domains of our life, one of the things, the thing that gives us the most meaning in our entire existence is our relationships. And now we've decided that they're the equivalent of choosing between KFC or McDonald's that night. And that's, like, to me, it's just sad. So if you want to be a person that isn't falling into these traps, falling into the dating app sort of curse and infection that has spread around, then I recommend starting to learn how to meet girls in the real world, because you can meet girls that have never been on the dating apps, that have avoided this culture that it brings on you. Like, there are still, surprisingly, girls out there that have never really used dating apps. So if they did, it was only passively. They've not been indoctrinated into this culture. So if you want to learn how to approach girls in real life, then I have the first step for you that I recommend to all my clients that gets them on their way starting to meet girls in the real world. And it's in this video right here. So if you want that to be you, you don't want to be locked to dating apps, check out this video and start meeting girls in the real world literally today.